Good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come out here. I'd like to welcome our partners, our fighters, our sponsors, and our friends, and the guests and media guests that are here. Thank you for coming in and being a part of this. This is a really exciting press conference to do. I gotta say that I never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that we'll be holding a press conference to talk about some exciting things about the sport of MMA and have this kind of support and this kind of media turnout and this kind of fans and fighters come out to support and sponsors to come out to support. And I just want to share with you a little bit of background of the journey of where we've come from to what brought us here today before I talk about some of the things we're going to announce today. First of all, congratulations on the 6-year anniversary to Toon Talk. Big round of applause for that. I would say that a lot of people don't know this, but the journey of Toon Talk and Jason Lowe and his team is very similar to the journey of One Championship. In that, when Jason Lowe was appointed to CEO of Toon Talk, here was a man who's a rock star, celebrity, and suddenly put into the world of telco. And people said, well, just watch him fail. What are these guys going to do? What does he know about telco? What does he know about this business, and what can he really do? Well, what did he do? Jason assembled a team of other rock stars. I think some of the best people that I've seen in the world. Joseph is an example, Farah is an example. These guys are rock stars that have elevated the brand of Toon Talk to unbelievable levels to where it is today that we're celebrating their 6-year anniversary. And along that way, they've continually innovated and challenged the game and challenged the big players to do something different. When One Championship started, we were faced with a lot of the same skepticism. People said, what is this sport of MMA? Who knows MMA? Asians don't pay for tickets, Asians don't come to sporting events, and they definitely don't pay respect or care about martial arts. What is MMA, and what is it doing here in Malaysia? In that time we launched, and one of the first big partners that came on board with us was Toon Talk. And Joseph was there from day one, from our very first meeting that we had. And where we were really talking about what is this sport? How do we bring it together? What do we do? And that was the beginning in their old office, and they were trying to figure out how do we make Toon Talk different than everyone else? What is something that is going to make people emotionally connect to the brand, fall in love, and a sport that we can own and dominate? And they partnered with One Championship. And so I'm always very thankful to the team at Toon Talk and to Jason Lowe for being with us on this journey from day one to where we are today. So where we are today? Where are we today? One Championship is now broadcast to over 1 billion viewers around the world. We are by far the largest sport organization and sports media company in Asia. We have a 10-year television deal with Fox. Some of the biggest blue chip brands in the world work with us. Not only Toon Talk, but Disney is our sponsor. Facebook, we're the first sport property in the history of Asia for Facebook to sponsor. They sponsored MMA, they sponsored One Championship. L'Oreal, Casio, Canon, Kawasaki, Alienware, Budweiser, these are all sponsors of blue chip companies that have decided and seen the opportunity with mixed martial arts and One Championship. Because this is the world's fastest growing sport, and it is exploding in Asia. Why is it exploding in Asia? Why do we have so many talented fighters and athletes out of Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, China, Philippines, and a room filled with some of the best looking athletes in the world like Peter Davis over there? He was good looking before he was a fighter, by the way. So the being a fighter didn't turn him good looking, in case that's the path that you're going on. But why is the sport growing so fast? It is because for the first time in the history of Asia, we have the opportunity to build and cheer the best fighters and the best athletes in the world that are homegrown and from Asia. We realistically can see an Asian talent or a Malaysian fighter or a fighter from Asia competing with the best fighters in the world and have the ability to become a world champion. I'll give you the fantastic story of Ann Osman. Ann Osman, you know, as many of you probably know, she's actually, relatively speaking, still a very young fighter. With a few fights under her belt. She's on a winning streak. She's got 4 fights under her belt. 3-1, I think, is her record, or 4-1. And so relatively a young fighter. But she embodies the spirit of martial arts that everybody has been waiting for in Asia, has been waiting for a hero to look up to. She's about female empowerment. She's beautiful, she's articulate, she's strong, she's athletic, she's graceful, she's Malaysian, she's Muslim, she's got all these things. And that is why she's been on the front page of New York Times, featured in Time magazine, featured in CNN, featured all around the world. Probably last year, the highest featured athlete in all of Malaysia in the world. As a global athlete. She got the greatest coverage as an example of where this sport is growing and how hungry we are for Asian heroes to call our own. And that's been a big part of the growth story throughout Asia and everywhere we go. While we sell out 20,000-seater stadiums in Manila and Singapore and Indonesia and Malaysia. Now, it's been an exciting journey over the last 3 years of where we come. And today really is a culmination of something I thought isn't going to happen for another 5 years. But it's a testament to the kind of great support that we've had from the media, great support that we've had from sponsors, of how fast the sport is growing here in Malaysia. What you're seeing is a perfect circle coming together of a, let me call it a perfect storm, but a good storm, in that you're getting amazing support from the media that is promoting the sport, promoting the athletes. You guys are excited to cover what we're doing. You're getting the commercial side of the business with a great presenting partner who is developing the sport and investing in it. And on top of that, they have developed an entire infrastructure of MIMA and the amateur competition. Probably people in Malaysia and the athletes are starting to take it for granted of how successful MIMA is. But you should really take a moment to recognize how groundbreaking and visionary what MIMA is. And the fact that nobody, I say it again, nobody in the world has done what MIMA is doing. It is an unbelievable infrastructure for amateur fighters and and athletes who want a career in mixed martial arts, or people who just want to dabble and experiment about the opportunity and are curious about it. It's a fantastic platform, and nobody in the world has done it the way Toon Talk has done. And what you're seeing is this whole opportunity to develop amateur fighters in the ecosystem of this sport. And that has come together with one championship at the professional level. So now you have the opportunity for an athlete in any kampong, in any city, to look at an amateur progression and visibly see inspiration and leaders and people and fighters that have gone through the process from being an amateur athlete, a competitor, and competing at the highest levels to becoming a champion in MIMA, and then having an opportunity to compete with the best in the world and the best in Asia on one championship. And this is the kind of infrastructure that, as a sport, is actually very, very rare in any sport. In any sport. Football, okay, has been around for decades, so that process is a little bit more entrenched. But you don't see this kind of activation, this kind of commercialism, this kind of partnership with the media in any other sport. You're not seeing it in squash, you're not seeing it in tennis, you're not seeing it in golf, and it's a really unique aspect of mixed martial arts. Again, I think the big part of the reason of why this whole ecosystem has come together is because in Asia, martial arts is in our DNA. We know it. We live, breathe, and we understand martial arts. You're going to turn on any free-to-air channel and watch a soap opera and see two guys break into a fight, and guaranteed they're going to break into some sort of martial arts fight. And when you watch it, you'll be like, oh yeah, of course. And you might even fly off a wall and jump off the ceiling, and you'll be like, oh yeah. You know, it's normal. We get it. Martial arts is in our DNA. Martial arts and mixed martial arts in the DNA of Toon Talk. It's in the DNA of One Championship. And I really am very excited to announce that this October is the creation of the first ever fight week. We have gone, again, I'll go through the progression. We've gone from holding a One Championship event as a standalone event to showcase the best in the world. MIMA has developed it all across the country as an amateur circuit and promoted the sport and built it and built awareness with regular television broadcasts, regular promotions, regular advertising, bringing corporate partners all together. And what you're seeing this October is the culmination and just the beginning of where we're going, of an entire fight week of activities where fans in all martial arts, whether it's boxing, silat, taekwondo, kung fu, anything, wrestling, can come together and enjoy and celebrate the power of martial arts as a community. Together. It doesn't matter what your background is, what your race is, what your religion is, what your political leanings are, or what martial art you study. We are a brotherhood and a sisterhood of martial art and a community that's coming together for Fight Week. It pinnacles in a One Championship event on October 9th and on October 10th with the finals of MIMA. What you are seeing from the front side of it, from the public side, is this culmination of all that I talked about of Fight Week. But behind the scenes, our teams have actually been working on this for over a year and a half, was when we first floated the idea. And as you can imagine, the kind of magical lineup that it takes to line two teams and two huge events to go back to back in the same venue, operationally, from production, television, infrastructure, production, all this kind of stuff that has got to come together to make on a week like this a huge success. So to wrap it up, I really want to thank both the Toon Talk teams and our team at One Championship, who are the best guys and the best teams in the world, for bringing Fight Week together, bringing this press conference together. Thank you very much for coming. And I look forward to seeing you during Fight Week in October. And with that, I'd like to pass it over to my buddy Joseph over here at Toon Talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you for the kind words. Hi. First and foremost, I would like to convey a message from Jason. It's his utmost regrets that he can't make it. This is a big event for Toon Talk, and he would love to be here, but he was called up for a last minute meeting, so I'm stepping in for him. As Victor has said,
you're an upgrade.
Yeah, I'm an upgrade.
Joseph is the upgrade.
So we'll be working with One FC for the third year, right? And this means big time for us as well. Toon Talk has, well, happy birthday to Toon Talk, as we are on our 6th year. Woo! And for this long and great journey of 6 years, for the half of this journey, we are working with One FC. And it is no surprise that we are collaborating big time this year, together with a back-to-back Fight Week on the 9th of October and the 10th of October. What does this mean to us? What does this mean to Toon Talk? Toon Talk has organized one of the largest amateur tournaments, MIMA, and it is a platform and a stepping stone to elevate the fighters to the professional grounds of One FC, and that you will reach your pinnacle of your career in MMA. And with this Fight Week, we want to feature best of both categories of amateur as well as professional. And with this, we will be able to showcase what talents Malaysia has, as well as the fighters in the region. It is very important that we are able to showcase the potential of our Malaysian fighters, as well as seeking a lot of grassroots potentials as well. Next off, I would like to just elaborate a bit on MIMA's journey, where we started off 3 years ago. It was the trial was in Kuala Lumpur, and it was only one location. We had overwhelming responses, and from there on, we expanded to a nationwide search for these talented fighters in all categories. And we always have in hope that these fighters will then elevate themselves, would then progress and develop themselves into a professional fighter and to start fighting off in one championship. So for example, we have a few upcoming debuts, which are Mima champion, which Victor will probably disclose later if he feels like it. That will be fighting for ONE FC, right? So our collaboration with ONE Championship is strengthened via the graduation of these fighters from amateur right up to professional. Again, I would like to stress how important this MMA Fight Week is for Malaysia, as it is the first of its kind in Malaysia, thanks to ONE Championship, whereby we are able to feature both the array of fighters together, and you will be able to spectate the difference in terms of the amateur and understand what is more of a professional fight as well. And it is always important for us to actually educate the market. Thank you to the media friends which helped us broadcast and promote the MMA sport. And this is really important because the market will really need to understand what is MMA, right? And what better way to celebrate and to understand the biggest fight week in Malaysia. And of course, Tune Talk will continuously build its community, and we believe that the MMA community is exploding. It has exponential growth in Malaysia, in the world as well. So once again, thank you, Victor, for such a great partnership, and we are looking for many more years to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe we can throw out a fist, those that aren't holding anything.